to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Helly
and
Tyler Hymanson.
All right. Everyone's here, and we're talking about a brand new franchise this week. We're done with Phantasm. We're done with Tremors. We're on to... Beethoven. We've been missing dogs, and
that's right.
That's why we're doing this. But we have a special guest with us this week. Eliz, who's here?
Yes, we have my good friend and recent dog owner, Nathaniel Rotta.
Hello.
Tell us about your dog that you've recently got.
Well, I'll try to pick him up.
It's audio medium. It's fine.
Well, I want to see the dog. Speak for yourself.
This is Rocket. He does not like being picked up, as you can see.
He got a Saint Bernard just for this episode.
No.
Close. So it's been a little over a year, and he was a rescue, which was pretty cool because he's actually like very calm, and I've had no issues to speak of, which is very not as common with rescues. And yeah,
you look like a very good boy when you were holding him up.
Yeah. He like puts his hands out and like makes this funny look, but he loves squirrels, and I just got a house with a yard again, so he likes to go find the squirrels outside, and
amazing.
He's chased a lot of squirrels up some trees. There was a rabbit one day out in the yard.
Wow.
And I was outside with him, and I saw the rabbit, and I just like grabbed him by the neck because he didn't see the rabbit, and I was like, do not go after the rabbit.
Aw. Well, I'm sure that we will ask you a lot more questions about having a big dog as we go on. But yeah, I also forgot you are a very fastidious property owner, so we'll find out if the worries of Charles Grodin's character were valid in this.
Oh yeah.
Well, awesome. Thanks for being here with us, Nathaniel. We're excited to get your new dog owner expertise this week.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm excited.
Eliz, so where can people reach out to us throughout the week and whenever they want?
Yes, you can always email us, sequelrights@gmail.com, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Sequel Rights.
And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars is a great way to have other people find the podcast, stumble upon it. We have lots of great dog episodes with the Benji series. You can go back and listen to some of those and give us a rating for those as well.
That's right. Well, why don't we start parsing Beethoven's First Symphony right now?
Throughout the history of motion pictures, there have been many big dog stars. Toto had a big adventure. Petey had a big appetite. Rin Tin Tin was a big hero. And Lassie had a big heart.
You've come back!
But now, Ivan Reitman, who brought you Ghostbusters, Kindergarten Cop, and Twins, proudly presents the biggest dog star of them all. Beethoven.
No!
Wow. Oh my God, that audio clip from Twins is incredible.
That was quite the overture.
I know. I was watching.
Petey?
I don't know who Petey is. It was I don't know. They just showed the dog eating off a plate in someone's house. I don't know.
Huh.
But I was like waiting for maybe a Benji appearance on that list of dogs, but didn't happen.
Probably not Universal.
Yeah. I like what you can't see in this trailer is when there's that starting bell. Oh,
we got a cameo. First dog guest cameo.
That was perfect.
Was it? I mean, aforementioned. I'm sure our listeners will know every single time a squirrel scampers out in the backyard.
Yeah, that was a car door slamming from
I see.
one of my neighbors.
Way to go. That's funny. I was just gonna say, like, in the trailer, when towards the end, when it's like, it's the biggest dog ever, and you hear that like starting bell dinging, every time it dings, it's flashing like 185 pounds, 185 pounds, 185 pounds. It's so funny.
I mean, so the thing I have to talk about is out the gate, the opening credits of this movie plays like a list of just like, hey, here's a parade of beloved character actors that are their names that I do not recall being in this movie whatsoever. But it's like you have Oliver Platt, Stanley Tucci, David Duchovny. I forgot that Bonnie Hunt was in this movie. Yeah, Patricia Heaton's in this movie. It's insane.
Dean Jones.
Dean Jones.
In a villainous turn, no longer the hero that drove with Herbie.
Yeah, no longer Herbie's best friend, but taking just chewing scenery as an incredible villain in this movie. He's so much fun.
He's very dark in this movie. His very first line is like,
"I need puppies."
And we know what he sounds like old because we saw him in that Love Bug TV special, and he did not sound like this. So he is making a choice.
Yeah. He's doing like a deep, gravelly, Undertaker voice. It's amazing.
Yeah. So everybody, what was your experience with this movie or franchise?
This movie came out when I was 5 years old, and I fucking loved it. I loved this movie as a kid. I think that like. The thing I remember so vividly is Dean Jones taking 30 syringes to the chest.
That's hilarious.
And like, that might be the first like horror movie type kill. I know he didn't die, but like, it's actually pretty violent. Like, it's the end of the movie, but the kids drive a car through a table where he's, as any doctor does, prepped his various syringes of poisons, needle up while with their plungers, standing upon their plungers on a table. It flips the table and flings like just all of these syringes into his chest. And when it happened in the movie, I was like, oh my God, like that was like a lightning bolt moment of everything that I remembered.
Yeah, I definitely have seen at least the first two movies in this franchise, and I remember really liking them. But we never had a dog; it was never even in the cards and the idea. So I don't know why I really like this movie, but it's just so cute and wholesome. And the one thing that really stuck with me is that the girl's name is Rice, and for some reason that always stayed in my head. I guess maybe, I don't know, Asian. I was like, ooh, Rice, cool name, you know, like, but I don't know, whatever.
That's so funny. That's funny that you mentioned the like syringe thing, Tyler, because I was like watching this movie and I was like, you know what? I can tell that I watched this movie as a kid and then never have really revisited it much, because I will say that there were plenty of scenes here in the movie where I was like, oh man, yes, I love this part. But I would say that I totally did not recall that like the third act plot hinges on the fact that they're going to test out the efficacy of bullets in Beethoven's head.
In the face.
Yeah. Right? And I was I don't remember this part at all.
I mean, and we'll get to it, but my favorite part of the movie, because this movie just escalates in ways that are surprising. And it's like, wow, 92 is definitely a different time, because Dean Jones is about to shoot Beethoven in the face. And then Charles Grodin, who falls like 30 feet through a plate glass thing, he immediately goes, you shouldn't have meddled, and then he upgrades from animal cruelty to first-degree murder immediately.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Nathaniel? What's your experience with the movie?
So I definitely know I've seen these movies back, like when they first came out in 92 or whatever, and I was 5 years old as well. I don't actually remember them. And so it was kind of like a new movie for me.
Nice.
Also, like, mortified at certain things in the movie.
My God.
I guess 92 was a different era.
Yeah.
But then also very excited to see Bonnie Hunt in the movie. Yeah. Because I really enjoyed the Cheaper by the Dozen movies. Mm-hmm. And so it just like felt very Bonnie Hunt-esque, which I liked.
Yeah,
America's Mom.
Yeah, the trailer that I pulled that clip from for the trailer on YouTube is labeled Beethoven 1992 official trailer, Bonnie Hunt dog movie. So like,
I have to take a moment to like, because this is the only platform I have to do this. This is a complete aside that is not related to this at all. But you mentioned the Cheaper by the Dozen movies, and it just made me think of Steve Martin. And Steve Martin is still so fucking funny to this day. He had a tweet like a week ago. There's like, something's been bothering me about masks, and I think I finally solved it. And it was just a photo of him in a mask. And when you clicked on it, it just had a giant sign over his head that said, "I'm Steve Martin." But it was like a joke structure that was specifically for Twitter, and it was still so specifically in his comedic voice. And I was just like, this motherfucker, like he will never stop being so damn funny. I was just blown away by it, and I have not had a place to talk about that, and I just felt like I needed to say that right now.
Okay.
Well, and I thought it, for whatever reason, I thought Steve Martin was the dad in this movie.
Oh yeah,
You
I
can
feel like
easily confuse.
yeah, but I feel like he's the dad in all the movies from the late '80s and early '90s.
absolutely.
So I was like, the opening scene of the dad, I was like, no, I don't think that's Steve Martin.
No, his hair's not gray. So
Yeah, his hair's too dark.
And Nathaniel, I think you also had a bit of a celebrity connection to this movie, right?
So allegedly, because I asked my parents today about it, and they looked at me dumbfounded. But again, this was a long time ago.
Sure.
There was a Saint Bernard that lived in the neighborhood I grew up in, and the rumor was that it was one of the puppies of the litter that was, I think, from the second
movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we would see the dog walking around the neighborhood all the time.
Do you think it was like a rumor that maybe the kids in that family just started to like seem cool?
I mean, it could be. There's a lot of kids in the neighborhood, so it's potentially, but also there's not a lot of, like, I don't see St. Bernards running around all the time. So, maybe not. And a lot of people moved up from California to Portland, so there's a chance. There's a chance.
I'm going to say it's true.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Allegedly true.
Yeah.
So the beginning, the credits of this movie are exciting for sequel rights fans and for us in particular because, well, first of all, it comes up in an Ivan Reitman production. I was like, shit, Ivan Reitman made this movie? But no, he just produced it. And Brian Levant, our tried and true friend of Jingle All the Way, Problem Child 2, and so many other sequel rights movies, directed this film.
Yeah, he's like hot off the presses from Problem Child 2 straight into this movie.
Yep, exactly.
And it was written by Edmond Dantes, right?
Edmond Dantes, yep, absolutely. Which was the pseudonym for John Hughes. This is a secret John Hughes movie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Do we know why he wanted to pseudonym this one?
Well, it didn't take place in Illinois, so he didn't want to break his streak.
Oh,
that's right. Valley Vista, yeah. I don't know. I could not. I didn't have much time, and this is one of those movies that like has been released on Blu-ray, but never has gotten any like kind of special feature making of documentary treatment or anything. So sadly, I didn't find too much behind the scenes info on this one. So who knows?
Okay. So, like we said, we start out, we find out that Dean Jones needs puppies.
We open on the set of Darkman, which is what I thought immediately, like warehouses. Yeah.
But we also go to the pet store and remember pet stores?
Yeah.
Those were a thing. Yeah, I remember when you go to the mall as a teen and we'd always go stop at the pet store and look at the puppies. And now that just seems so no one does that anymore. So you either get your purebred pup off the internet from a farm or you rescue someone.
So I am I'm sure this will come up for the course of these movies, and it came up at Benji as well. I am definitely allergic to dogs, but I do love dogs. I wish I could have one, but they make it so that I cannot breathe. So this interaction that Elias is talking about is the only way that I could see dogs and be around dogs, except for friends. So I would love to go to the pet store, but growing up in Las Vegas, there's a ton more exotic pets. So pet store trips were far weirder because you have sugar babies and like armadillos and crazy things that you shouldn't be able to own.
Tiger King?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Tyler, did you wear that pup shirt on purpose for this?
I didn't. Yes, I planned. No, I planned it out perfectly. Yes, this is entirely intentional. The music of the punk band Pup is all what Beethoven's all about.
That's right.
Yeah, not Beethoven music.
Yeah. Nope.
So yeah, we see that little baby Beethoven is not getting adopted because he's either too cute or going to grow up to be too big and whatnot. And then it becomes night.
Puppy is the cutest puppy. They got some amazing performance takes from this dog being cute. Like, love me.
And peeing on a biker lady.
Peeing on a biker lady.
So cute.
But yes, then it becomes night.
We get a touch of the tooch and sorry, I stole that from Blank Chuck. And Oliver Platt and Stanley Tucci. I wish I knew how much of his character mannerisms and costuming was in the script, because I really wonder, like, were those boots in the script or chosen by wardrobe, or was that a choice from Stanley Tucci?
That's a classic Tucci touch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to believe that he showed up like to his audition wearing those boots.
Yeah.
And then Oliver Platt's extreme lisp and like doofiness. Oh man.
I could see Stanley Tucci just being like, well, there's not much to this character, so I'm gonna wear these crazy boots for now.
Yeah, they're paving the way for Hugh Laurie and 101 Dalmatians.
So they steal all the dogs.
They do.
And then the dogs, Beethoven, and then one other little pup, smartly escape.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so Nathaniel, as someone who ran a marathon literally right before this, would you have been able to catch that small white dog that Stanley Tucci could not keep up with?
So honestly, probably not, because like when I let him out, it is funny because he'll run around in my backyard in circles, and you just see like this black blur go flying by. So he's pretty fast.
Okay.
I mean, he probably could have caught him, but you know,
In the boots?
well, the boots would probably slowed him down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, little baby Beethoven, spends the night in the trash, and then he sneaks his way into the family home.
He sneaks his way into our hearts.
And he chooses wisely which human to bond with.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did like that he also went up to the leaf blower so he could be as fluffy and adorable as humanly possible when he goes into the house with the little girl.
I think this is a good time to talk about, like, they got some amazing performances out of this dog, but we during Benji, we know how difficult that can be and how much animal trainers do amazing work. Yeah. But this movie also has some prosthetics and puppets.
Oh my god!
Specifically when Beethoven is surprised or scared by something that are truly terrifying. Like they are they're like in the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic Five Nights at Freddy's horrific zone.
Yeah, there's actually a if you look up on YouTube, you can find like one of those, like, someone recut Beethoven as a horror film trailer,
yes.
And like the screen grab for the for the video is that photo of the eyes, the puppet eyes, like. I had to rewind it once because I was like, whoa, what's a puppet?
Yeah. Well, I think the first time we see it is early on in the movie where, like, when Beethoven becomes an adult, which happens immediately. Like, this dog would
montage.
The kid's age, not a day.
Yeah, I think
this dog grows up like 3 years.
Yeah, Beethoven's the only one moving through time in this entire movie.
Well, it's 7 years is equivalent to 1 year.
That's right.
That's true. I was like, did they grow that fast? Jesus.
I mean, they do grow fast. They don't grow that fast. But it's weird. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so during this montage, we get to see part of why Dad is so, I mean, he's got some OCD tendencies, but I don't think his concerns were that insane, because Beethoven really did a number, and I'll never forget, like, the drool and the amount of slobber in the shoe and stuff. Like, that was very I remember those moments with the scratching on the walls and the tearing of things apart, and then the final big climax of the montage is the muddy master bedroom shaking of the water.
Yes,
so
that's like-
Nathaniel, as a homeowner and new dog owner, how many of these things have you experienced?
Well, let's see. He does drool. Not quite like buckets like that. So that might have been a
That's
bit
so
exaggerated. Rocket likes to jump a lot, and he's literally been like climbing over my walls.
So you're saying that there's accuracy to getting the paw prints when you wear your Matlock suit out to have a white suit.
Yeah. And then the shaking. So he doesn't like water yet. We're working on it. But I've given him some baths at home. I've stopped giving him baths because I gave up. It's too difficult. But he's like escaped out of the tub and gone running down the hallway. And
Oh God!
Shakes, or after like taking him for a walk in the rain, which I have a rain jacket for him because he still gets wet. He'll just shake, and water's everywhere, and I'm like, no. Or if he comes running in the house muddy from the backyard, it's jumping on him with the towel to not get too far in the house.
Get him.
Come back
Sorry,
here.
Tyler. What were you going to say about the story? My bad.
No, I was gonna say that the drool thing kind of has always stuck in my head, and there's a famous family story on my end of where my parents when they moved to Las Vegas, they rented out our house up in Reno, and they rented out to some friends, but because they already knew I was definitely allergic to animals, they said the one thing that you can't have a dog if you're gonna rent the house. And they kind of lied to my parents and got a dog anyway. And the dog was this big boxer that, kind of tore up the house, whatever. And I remember there was just, when we were up there staying for a weekend, and there was just so much slobber. But I think that it was like somehow this scene of this movie with the slobber in the shoe kind of fused into my brain of what the reality of that was. But I had called that dog a Yugoslavian. When I was like 3 years old.
Oh my God. So you were already a comedy genius.
It was just like, but like, how did I must have been like something on the news about Yugoslavia. I don't know why I would know that, but that is a famous Hymanson family story about some dumb thing I said as a kid.
Our child grasps wordplay already at the age of 3. That's amazing.
That is really great.
But like in my mind, when I saw that scene, I was like, that's actually what I picture when I think of that dog. I think of the drool coming out of the shoe.
So gross. How does it get on the railing of the staircase? I don't know.
So before Dean Jones really comes in to villain things up, we kind of get a couple vignettes about Beethoven having various moments of bonding with each kid, pretty much, as the mom and dad are trying to decide like if the mom should go back to work and if the kids, should go to this babysitter. And to me, I'm like, okay, obviously it's a St. Bernard. It can be the nanny. Duh. Haven't you guys ever seen Peter Pan? Hello.
That's right.
Come on. Anna. Anyway,
put a bonnet on that dog.
Yeah. Duh. Okay.
Here at Sequel Rights, we have very few beliefs that we stick to, but we firmly believe you have to put bonnets on dogs.
How are they supposed to know their job? Yeah.
So with the oldest girl, who we've already discussed, her name is Rice, is Nicole Tom from The Nanny. Mm-hmm. And no child star check-in, because spoiler alert, all 3 of these kids are going to be with us next week. But yes, Nicole Tom she's got a crush on some dude at school, and he doesn't like her or whatever. He doesn't know who she is. And
Mark.
because she's got a sweet, gigantic dog, he reveals that he does know who she is. And it's very adorable.
Yeah.
This dog is solving all the problems. Like, kids you don't need to stand up for yourself. You don't need to advocate for yourself. All you need is to own a dog.
I mean, he's like a magical psychic. They don't address this outright, but he is definitely psychic.
Yeah, he has some lassie on his mother's side or something like that.
Yeah. I think there's a scene later, too, where they reveal that he, fully understands the complexities of the English language as well.
Yes, indeed.
And business contracts.
Exactly. That's the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I thought when we were watching this movie, because like that first growing up montage, after it was done, which was the first 10 minutes of the movie, I was like, wait, there's more to this movie? Because that's pretty much what I thought I remembered.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the highlight reel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it starts getting into like, oh yeah, the business deals and a bunch of stuff that I didn't really remember happening. Like, did anybody recall that he owned an car air freshener?
No, but that was disgusting. That grossed me out big time. Just that statue of the nose. I was like, no.
It looked like it was like, one of the props from Double Dare or whatever.
Yeah.
Strapped on the wall there. What was I going to say? Oh, was that scene with Mark and like when they're at the school? Where was student number 1? Did you guys remember this from the credits?
Yeah, I don't know who he was.
I didn't see it, but yeah, apparently, are you talking about this being Joseph Gordon-Levitt's film debut?
I saw him in the credits and I was like, what?
I couldn't catch
see
him either.
anywhere.
So allegedly it says, hold on, I looked this up actually, and I have it handy. He is the kid on the right wearing a green top who gets on the school bus while Ted hides behind a tree.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, this adds to the parade of character actors that's just like, what? Like, how are all these people in this movie?
I mean, I don't even know why he's in the credits then. It must have been that there was potential for him to have a line, so they signed him up at like a slightly higher level, and then it ended up getting cut or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Interesting. But yeah, so he saves the kid from the bullies, but lets the kid think that he did it himself by putting up his fist.
He gives him that. That's that Lassie magic. I will have to say, as looking this up, the IMDb fact that's just above this is Steve Martin was the first choice to play George Newton.
Aha!
And then it says, which I think this is fucking crazy town. John Candy, Danny DeVito, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Jeff Goldblum, Rick Moranis, and Robin Williams were later considered for the part.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah.
You can't have Robin Williams being the stick in the mud.
Yeah, no, never. He'd be like, oh, let's give this dog. Let's get 10
he'd
of
be like,
them.
let's roll around in the mud with the dog, Like that wouldn't have worked.
I think they made the right choice. Charles Grodin is good.
Yeah.
He looks like, a dad as well. Very dad-like.
Yeah, that's true. And then, okay, so let's get on the subject of the third vignette with the littlest child and the subject of child endangerment.
Mm-hmm.
What fucking Saturday morning PSA was this? Like this part of this movie? Like I was like, and they're trying to do this comedy beat with this.
This is another scene that I vividly remember with the Lady Marmalade.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't remember this.
Oh, with her singing the Lady Marmalade and everything. That's
yeah.
That is the one thing that I was like, oh yes.
I mean, I can't remember if it's this movie or if it legitimately is a PSA I'm thinking of a little kid reaching for a ball in the water, because I feel like that's the classic. But no idiot in this world leaves a little kid anywhere where there's a pool without a gate.
Well, I think in order to get into that conversation, we have to get into like how much the dad in this movie is a real piece of shit. Like he's really a terrible person, right? And he hates this dog, he hates everything else. And how we get to the situation is he's trying to sell his company or get an investment or whatever it is. And there's a point where he's trying to convince his wife to come back to, like, you need to come back to the air freshener factory. And she's like, no, I want to be with the kids. And he's like, we'll get a babysitter. It'll be fine. And because she coalesces to that, we end up with this scene where the youngest falls into the pool. Almost dies, if not for a robotic dog head that saves her.
I mean, she should know how to swim.
Beethoven.
By then, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And then so that happens. We actually get an amazing performance from the babysitter trying to convince the kids to lie to their parents about how she actually didn't fuck up that badly.
Ugh.
Which was kind of harrowing. It was really gross. But then after all of this, Charles Grodin's character is so not nonplussed by this. He's just like, we'll get a different babysitter. It'll be fine. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
Well, they never reveal that Beethoven saved her.
No.
They just think that she made it to the edge of the pool somehow, like, which is crazy. Like she full on like drowned. She was going under for real. It's not like she was still flailing. She was down.
It makes me think that they cut the scene where Beethoven did CPR on her.
Yeah, the movie didn't want to have their characters grapple with the wait, but how did he know she was drowning from several houses over?
He heard her. He's psychic, I'm telling you. And he even jumped over a sexy lady in a bikini, like classic Ferris Bueller shit right there.
Yeah, that was an important shot to have, I think.
I'm surprised he didn't stop and be like, oh, hey, ladies.
Yeah, wasn't there the slow motion shot of him looking down while he jumps over?
And lowering sunglasses for one scene.
Maybe that'll happen in like the fifth movie or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I mean, this is the only time that I'll bring this up this week, but this is where it really comes home that everyone in this movie is white and rich, and that's why it doesn't that's why the mom going back to work is like a question and a choice.
Right. Yep,
and
exactly.
why they can even afford to hire a full like an adult woman babysitter, and like keeping the dog is just the only thing stopping them from keeping the dog is the dad. It's not the fact that they have to buy a gajillion pounds of food.
I was just gonna say it's even a joke point of like that. There's that sight gag where every member of the family is carrying like a relative size bag of food and the dad's carrying the biggest one. It's not a joke of like this giant dog is a giant financial responsibility and the vet fees and everything else. It's just like, oh, the dad has to carry the most food.
Yeah, and that there's something inherently wrong about that, because I'm sure there are plenty of families in this, financial bracket where the situation would play out like this for them. But I guess, just give a thought to the fact that for many people, the dog, you just can't do it. You literally can't do it.
Yeah.
And the babysitter, you can't do it. And the mom has to go to work no matter what. So,
Do they live in a fake California suburb?
I think so.
It's called like Valley.
It was Valley Vista.
Vista.
Valley Vista.
Yeah.
It may be real, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that's real or not, but it's like, it does
Sounds
feel like it's doing this. I mean, like 90s movies kind of did this, where it was like it was after Poltergeist, really, where it has this like the fantasy version of the suburban white household has its problems.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I totally agree. It's something that is the very premise of this movie is based upon white privilege.
Yeah, Valley Vista looks like it's not like a city per se, but it's like a neighborhood in Sherman Oaks.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The bigger houses, yeah.
Yep.
But however, I think maybe in the canon of the movie, it's farther out there, because I just don't understand why it's so hard for Dean Jones to find large dogs, that he has to steal a beloved pet from a full, family that has the resources to come after him.
Evil.
Yeah.
There are so many dogs that nobody wants. Just go get those and shoot them if it's that big of a problem. Obviously, don't shoot any of them. But
God, yeah.
I like how you're problem solving this for him.
The fact that he goes through all of this, it's like, dude,
just pick a different dog.
My biggest problem is that he wasn't efficient enough with the puppy murder.
Yeah.
I just kept thinking too with the gun companies, like, what? There were no deer or no cows that people had to kill.
Yeah,
or why do you have to use dogs? Like,
is that? I don't think that's really how they would test that, anyways. Like, what?
Yeah,
that's real sketchy.
All right. Anyway, sorry.
Moving on.
Yeah.
We know Dean Jones isn't efficient, because he's going to go through a whole theatrical thing of like, I need to get this dog, and I'm going to pretend that this dog attacked me. I'm going to spend my entire weekend going after this one dog.
Yeah, he had to drive all the way out to Burbank to go to the fake blood store.
Yeah. And he kept thinking like, oh, maybe they're going to make the connection to be like, this was the dog we captured in the beginning and it escaped, so now I need to get it back, even though it's not a puppy anymore and I needed puppies earlier. No.
Is now the time that we begin to discuss the investment bankers that are have a stake in Giorgio's company.
David Duchovny, so funny.
Yeah. So
this stunt is insane.
Yes.
It's probably the best part of the movie, honestly. I don't know. I think it's the funniest thing and one of the things that like definitely sticks out to me from the movie. Just the ridiculousness of this stunt.
And actually, the premise of it supports Elis's theory that it's actually further out because like they're trying to close the deal, and they ask, "Is there a nice restaurant in your town?"
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, "Oh no, we'll bring you to a barbecue." And like these fancy city people are just, "Oh no." Like,
what did they say? They say something like, "Oh God, well, we don't want to risk it" or something.
and then someone's like, "The she's like, let's live dangerously."
Oh yeah, yes, that's what it was.
Was that is that the mom that in Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just kind of funny to see her in that role.
Yep.
I guess because I'm just so used to Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh yeah,
Where she plays
Patricia Heaton,
a Bonnie
yeah,
Hunt
Patricia
type.
Heaton.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, speaking of the Bonnie Hunt thing, just a quick aside of that, like Charles Grodin was 56 at the time of filming of this, and she was 29.
Oh wow. Okay.
Weird.
And it's kind of bullshit that he's making her come back to work because then he ignores her and the people are so rude to her. And, she's clearly, what he's having her do is clearly a work that anybody could do as a secretary. It's not like specialized, it's not like she's the vice president of the company or something, like.
It was really interesting with these two people. Like, it's like this archetype of 90s villain. They're like these like acolytes of capitalism of like, they're just like, I don't care. Like, I care about my career. I don't care about family. Like, and they became like, they're in Christmas Vacation. They're in this thing like, oh no, I don't have kids. Like, I have a career. And it's just a really funny archetype that existed, and it's like it's almost interesting to think of like all the people who are writing that, like all the screenwriters are those people. Like it's this weird self-hating, like now like being in 2020 and being in that like world, it's just like, oh, like these are all self-owns. Like,
yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, and like we mentioned before, this is the scene where they're out at the table in the backyard, and when both of the characters go away, David Duchovny and Patricia Heaton's characters are like, yeah, if we pull this off, we'll be owning the air freshener place by the end of the year. And then like Beethoven's head perks up like, contract fraud? Yeah, like I know about this. And that's when he goes into action.
So really what it's saying, Nathaniel, is that you should take your dog to work with you, and so that he can sniff out the bad deals.
That's right.
Yeah, no, that's I would like to take him to work with me. Although
they can sense evil. Yeah.
He pulls them. He pulls the lawn chairs like a mile, and they somehow stay in them. And I thought it was because their legs were tied to the front legs of the chairs, but then later for extra comedy, they have them kicking their feet up later. And so I'm like, what? How did this work? Why did they just let go of the chair?
Yeah,
but, well.
The part where they like flip over the fence is so funny.
That looked pretty cool.
Yeah. And it just
they all land and the table lands in front of them.
Yeah, it just looks so cool. Like just to see them like, Beethoven takes off and they just fall backwards like, whoa. I don't know. It's just a really goofy.
I love that there was a take where it was obvious that it was like nothing. Like it was just they're sitting in the chairs when that happened, and they like act dizzy and they're like, whoa. And it's just like thinking of David Duchovny. It's like, man, everyone has to start somewhere. It's like, now sit in the chair and pretend like you're in a Looney Tune.
He seemed like he was having fun in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, everybody's
just being
having
like
fun
a smarmy douchebag.
Yeah. So after that, the dad is having a midlife crisis, and there's actually like a very, very serious argument between the parents where the mom is like, you're worried about losing your dream while you're losing your family, and it's like, oh shit. Like, and the kids are like listening, and it's just like, awkward. Ugh.
I thought it was a good line and like a direct shot on it. Like it was just like, okay, so like he has been a terrible piece of shit, and like it also doesn't land as like this dramatic moment like of like, oh, like that really resonates with me. Like he's immediately back on his bullshit of just like, but like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah,
and that somehow made it more real and actually more effective.
Yeah, and then this is when we take our dark turn into Dean Jones, evil veterinarian.
That's right.
Territory.
Where like he's literally doing like Regenerator Herbert West shit. Like he's like, let's steal the bodies.
Yes.
And they even have it where the youngest girl witnesses him beat the dog for no reason, and then no one believes her, which is pretty bad. I mean, like, believe children, they don't make stuff up like that. Like, yikes.
That scene where Bonnie Hunt is like, why are you listening to a stranger that we've only met twice? Yeah. Over our daughter. Like, maybe we should listen to our daughter. And I was like, yes, for the love of God, come on. Charles Grodin, come on, man. And the whole movie, he's been hating the dog. And then at the end, when he, towards the end, when he has to go he's going to go take Beethoven in to be euthanized. He's like, you're my dog too. This is really hard for me.
I mean, I thought his performance was good at that moment, but like story-wise, I didn't quite think he was caught up to that point yet. But I thought he pulled it off. But yeah, I don't know that I believed it for the character.
Mm-hmm. So I thought, like, is there a chance that just Dean Jones hitting the dog in this movie actually made it so he got less jobs? Because like it's something it's a chilling image. Like just seeing somebody hit a dog like that, it's just like, like that's not popular. And he was fine. It seems like he did everything else, but it looks like for the animated Beethoven TV series, Dean Jones voices George Newton.
Yep.
Oh.
Swap it up.
Which means that, guys, we might have to do a Beethoven animated series episode.
Was that in the DVD 8-pack? Because if not, I don't know if I can make another purchase.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not, sadly.
Nathaniel, did you watch this on Peacock?
I did. So I have Comcast internet, and I have one of the streaming things, but I guess I figured out I could connect it to like my iPad, so I watched on my iPad this morning.
Oh, okay. Did it have commercials?
It had like 3 minutes of commercials at the start.
Okay.
And of course, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to go here soon. So I'm gonna get
yeah. Okay, yeah. Just wondering because Tyler and I bought the DVD 8-pack on Prime Day.
Yeah.
It arrived a day early. Thanks, Amazon. Not sponsored. Okay.
It's like
actually, I do his dog food through Amazon. Which is really funny because I do buy like, it's not quite as big as I am, but they're like 40-pound bags.
Yeah.
And so I feel bad for the people like taking it up my 100-foot long driveway.
Yeah.
Oh. And there's always other things in the box. And I'm like, well, good thing I didn't order eggs.
Okay. So, obviously it's a horrible tragedy and people really actually do go through this where a dog has to be put down for attacking a human. That said, I don't know if I think there has got to be like official paperwork or a police report or something.
Yes.
If Dean Jones just tells you to bring your dog for murder, just drop him off and be like, all right, bye.
They keep saying like, you ordered him to be destroyed. I was like, is that what they call it?
They have to pay for an overnight lodging too. It's like, God, really? You're going to charge him?
I'm here to destroy my dog. Please do it. I can't do it myself. Do it for me. That's messed up.
I have to share. It's an awful story. It's a thing where it was a moment where a pet of somebody that I know had to put down. I was in the room, and it's this horrible moment, and like kind of where the joke is in this, where it's like you're gonna have to pay for boarding as well. The decision's been made, everything's happening, and they're like, do you have a card? Very discreet, like I'm so sorry, and the person, the poor vet tech sneaks out. And then, everyone's having a moment. And then this poor person had to creep back in and be like, I'm so sorry. We don't take American Express.
Oh, God.
God!
That's terrible.
Which is a real thing that happened.
Wow.
That's awful. Yikes.
Maybe that'll happen in one of the future Beethoven movies.
Yeah. Well, and the dad driving off and the kids like chasing him down the road is a really heartbreaking, like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like, as a dad, I don't know how you recover from that.
Yeah, really. Like, I was thinking, like, yeah, that scene when he goes back home after that, and they're just all like, "Get away from me!"
Oh, his daughter.
The daughter
is a dog killer.
Yeah.
the little one. Oh my God. When she said that, I was like, damn.
Yeah, well.
All right. Well, so let's get to the final confrontation. They figure it out by going to the office late at night, and Rice attacks the vet to get past him, and then he's grabbing her, and they realize that he's not really bit on the arm, and then everything goes to hell.
Charles Grodin punches him out, even though he's like, "I'm gonna sue you" and all this.
Yeah, and you know, although it is cool, and I'm glad he did that, but like the family is so excited by it, and the mom is both visibly and audibly aroused. It's kind of like, okay, like, yeah, he had to do that to protect you in that moment, but at the same time, like, let's not like
glorify it too much. Yeah. Like, it really didn't solve anything. Like, nothing really changed after he did it.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt good.
I just love that he's like, "Oh yeah, I just did it." Like, whatever. Like, he's like basking in the praise. Yeah.
I did like when he walked away, though. He's like, "I may need to go to the hospital." He's like, his knuckles are broken.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they follow him to the warehouse where all the dogs are. Dean Jones is prepping his 35 very beautiful colored syringes.
It's either chemical and animal testing or Jello shots.
I like that. I like that they're using, they need like a giant dog to shoot the gun into, but then they need a real small dog to put in like the 50 syringes for the chemical test. I'm like, what? Wouldn't you want a bigger dog for that too?
Yeah, so they get Beethoven's little friend guy. Oh, by the way, we should mention earlier that Beethoven stayed friends with the dude that he escaped with. Even though that guy didn't get adopted by a family, and he brought him donuts, and he looked out for him and stuff.
Yeah, he did Benji stuff.
Exactly. I was going to say, he has his own Benji about the town scene where everyone's like, "Oh, look, it's Beethoven." Yeah.
Hello,
Beethoven. But I have to say, when he was sharing an ice cream with that kid, I was like, like, it was... Would you do that, Nathaniel, with your dog?
No. I mean, he licks himself in certain areas. And I'm like, do not bring that mouth near me. Everyone's like, "Oh, can I kiss your dog?" I'm like, I would highly recommend not, but if you want to,
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, have at it. But just wash your hands, please.
All right. Anyway, sorry for that backtrack, but anyway, they're torturing the little friend, and they're about to shoot Beethoven in the face.
And then Charles Grodin decides to risk life and limb.
This is so ridiculous. This is a whole moment where I'm like, I don't remember any of this part of the movie. So when he goes up on the roof, I'm like, what is he going to do from up there? Okay, I get that he's got like a great vantage point to see what's happening, but he's not going to jump through the glass skylight in this roof, is he?
Well, no, they're going to throw a dummy down.
Yeah. Like, no, he's just a dad. He's going to die if he does that.
He's just a dad.
Yeah.
Listen, dads are superheroes, okay?
Apparently.
Not as much as single moms as we learned from Tremor Shrieker Island. But yes.
That's right.
Okay.
But he does go through that.
So and then mom goes to call the police, and the kids hear a gunshot, so they drive the car into the warehouse with abandon. So it all worked out, but they could have killed everyone, including Beethoven, by driving them over with the car. Just want to point that out.
Yeah. And themselves, like most likely themselves.
Terrible idea.
Yeah.
I did think the girl's performance was very good in this moment in the backseat, because the boy was just like, "I'm driving," and they were like literally screaming bloody murder for their lives. Like, they looked visibly horrified. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they get in there and they save the day.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know if the table flipping would have, well, maybe it would have been enough force to put some of the syringes into Dean Jones' chest. But without the pressure of pushing the button part of the syringe,
Well, that's why he lives to be prosecuted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, if, say there was something else on the table to kick those punchers down, he would have died.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder what kind of drugs it was too. Like, was it like
all
Viagra,
hallucinogens?
It looked like
hallucinogens?
it looked like it was
like
good
he had
drugs.
a boner and he lost reality, and like I don't know, his foot fungus was cured, and like he got pink eye. I don't know, whatever else.
His face definitely looks like he's enjoying it before he passes out.
Yeah.
Through his crazy ass glasses in this movie, like Dean Jones is wearing the most Coke bodily glasses that I think you can have.
Yeah, and then instead of they all hug and they're all so happy, and they're but then instead of calling the authorities, they just release all the dogs that are in cages so that they can go chase the two henchmen, rather than Well, we find out what happens to them, but still, like when they were just opening all the cages, I was like, "Why are you doing that?" And then the joke about the junkyard lady comes back because we see that she's got 4 Dobermans that literally destroy Tooch and Oliver Platt.
The one other thing I wanted to save her from this whole end sequence and needed to save a sound clip of was Stanley Tucci's scream. In this end scene, it's so great. He's like, and what I love about this clip too is that they were clearly like, all right, Randy Edelman, we want to like really make this scream pop. So like, can you have the score also like be in the same key and everything as the scream? You can hear it. I'll play it again here. You can hear it like ring out in the same note. it's like the reverb of it is so funny. That was another great character choice for him to just have a really high pitched scream.
Great score too. I mean, obviously it's mostly Beethoven music, but the way he puts it all together and the original stuff is very, very good.
It's very mischievous, which is great for this movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we find that Beethoven's magic has legs because wherever he helps, it doesn't just help in the moment. He helps long term. When Rice's crush sees her on the TV and calls her.
Remember when you could see someone on TV because there weren't that many channels and people watched the nightly news?
Yeah, right. That would never happen these days.
Yeah. Oh, and we should say too that the henchmen are chased down through a produce market by the dogs, and there literally is a my cabbages moment where they release the cabbages, and I was like, oh my god, Avatar. And so
my cabbages.
Yeah, but anyways,
I did appreciate that after the car was driven through by the sun. It was a very Bonnie Hunt like heroic moment where she's like walking over the car and like flipping the doors off the car. And then I think the dad was like, where were you? And she's like, I was shopping.
That line was so good.
Oh, man.
So we find out that everybody went to jail. It all worked out. They've got Beethoven. They've got little white dog.
They've got all the dogs.
All the dogs.
Which sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure was temporary just until they could find other homes. But
I mean, I think we might find out.
Yeah, those dogs will not exist in the next movie. I think. I don't know. We'll see. Well, Tyler, I keep hesitating whether or not I want to bring this other thing up, but do you have a rating system?
Well, I think you should bring up the thing, but I certainly do. It
was just we were talking about arousal and boners earlier, and I was like, does a dog straight up give a human man a boner in this movie?
Oh,
we didn't talk about the scene where Beethoven's licking his neck, and he's like, "Oh yeah, baby." He even says something real gross. He says like,
and then he goes into role play.
Yeah, he says, "Does Daddy's girl been naughty?" And I'm like, "Ew, what?"
I loved the segue into you making that point. And yes, it would have been a travesty if we did not discuss this disturbing.
Would it have been?
Yeah, that's why I kept going back and forth. Like, should I bring this up? Or I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny and gross. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that was horrifying.
look on his
10 times
face.
grosser than 10 times grosser than the ice cream scene that Elis was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The look on his face
and
when
of
he-
course, somebody, I think Stanley Tucci, someone does get bit in the crotch by a dog at some point.
It's Dean Jones.
Dean
yeah,
Jones.
Dean
Jones,
dog.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how
The
they
little
get
one.
the gun out of his
yeah.
hand.
Oh, God. All right. Rating system. Let's do it.
How many multicolored syringes would you give
Ooh.
Beethoven's First?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, it's a very narrow scope of a movie, like we said, but other than that, like it's pretty dang close to perfect. I am gonna give it 9 multicolored syringes. I just remember this movie really fondly, and I think it's just kind of a perfect little cute afternoon 2-hour, like thing to do with your family. And yeah, there are some problematic parts, but nothing over the top, and it's just really enjoyable.
Absolutely.
I think I'm going to give it 7 multicolored syringes. I think, I think this is a great family film. I'm just giving it a little bit lower because, like, it's it's not something I've ever felt like needing to revisit. I don't have like super fond memories of it. I think it's just kind of like, I think it's a fine family movie. It's cute. I don't think there's a ton in it that I'm like, oh man, you've got to see this movie. I think it's I think it would be something great to just put on in the background for kids or something, but I don't think it's like an amazing movie or anything. But yeah, full of lots of enjoyable stuff. Definitely some indelible images that have carried on through the years. But yeah, 7 for me.
I'm gonna split the difference here. I'm gonna go 8 colorful injections. I agree with you on the overall quality of the movie and the moments of it. Even times where I was watching it, I was like, man, like comedy's a funny thing. Like when you're a kid, of the things that you find funny or like the situations that's like, wow, like all of these, it's such a different way of thinking about things now. That being said, I have a great fondness for this movie and watching it a lot as I was a kid. And so that bumps it up to an 8 for me.
Nathaniel?
I'd probably go with an 8 as well. 8 colorful syringes. I thought not having remembered a whole lot of any of it but I know I watched it. I found it quite enjoyable at my sleep deprived self at 5 a.m. But no, it was a good movie. Some things didn't necessarily age as well now, but I think 92, it was appropriate. And I think kids these days would probably enjoy it.
It's just like refreshing how wholesome and simple it was in a way too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a comedy now, like if you think of a comedy that you really liked recently, like Palm Springs or something, it has to jump through like 1,000 hoops and have all these complicated things. But this is just like, oh, they have a dog, the dog's in danger, they're out of danger, they're happy. Like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah,
Like,
it doesn't have to do anything. Yeah, exactly.
It is nice that most of the movie is just like the family has a dog.
yeah.
And then it's like bookended with like, ooh, the dog might die, but the middle part is like, oh, they've got a dog. But
Okay.
yeah, I think that's going to bring us to the end of
Beethoven.
but as the real Beethoven did, there's more symphonies to be heard. So coming up next is Beethoven's Second. Ooh.
I've seen it, so I'm not going to say anything.
I'm pretty sure I've seen this one too. And you mentioned that the kids are coming back, but no, I was going to ask, like, I was wondering how fast we're going to start losing cast members in this franchise. But I think the first one was really successful, so I would bet that everyone's back, and it sounds like probably everyone is. If the kids are back, the dads are back.
I don't know if I've seen this one, but I seem to remember, if I had to make a guess, that Brian Levant's coming off Problem Child 2. That I think Beethoven 2 takes a similar course of bringing in a partner in crime.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have to say too, it was great that Beethoven never spoke. And if this franchise at some point takes a turn into Lady and the Tramp or Beverly Hills Chihuahua,
Oh my God, I didn't even think about this.
CGI mouth movements, I'm going to be very sad.
I'm very curious to see if that happens in one of these movies.
Please God no.
Honestly.
Oh no.
I think we're good.
Yeah,
I think we're good
it's
for a
gonna
while.
fucking happen.
I think we're
My
good.
God. Place your bets now if that comes in 5, 6, or 7.
Or 8.
But tune in for the rest of our Beethoven. In the meantime, Eliz, where can people get in touch with us?
You could email us at sequelrights@gmail.com or find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights.
And please, again, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps the podcast out a lot, and we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, and Nathaniel, thank you so much for being here.
welcome,
Did you have
absolutely.
anything you wanted to plug? I don't know. Are you looking for more followers anywhere?
No.
Okay. Your dog doesn't have his own Instagram yet?
No, we're not going down
Give
that
a
path.
shout out to the rescue
Fair
shelter. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. He came from the Western Australian Shepherd Rescue, and they rescue dogs from Texas and then deliver them to foster parents in specific states. So Portland or Oregon is one. I think Colorado is another one. And so they were a very easy one to work with. And you get to meet the dog, where some of them are you pick your dog up at 8:00 on a Tuesday, and that's
Right.
how you met it. So it was
That's
cool. Yeah. So that's good.
Adopt a pet. That's the best
Adopt
advice
a
we
pet.
can give.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yep.
It's a good message to end on. Thanks for being here, Nathaniel. And we'll see everyone next week when we get into Beethoven's second.